All right. It's time for the Chasing Atlanta Season 4 reunion. And it's time for them to fix their shit. Alright y'all, this be your boy Skyler by Nature TV, and we're here for another review of Chasing Atlanta Season 4, The Reunion Part 1. So let's get right on into this shit, okay? Now, we have all the cast members here. We have no audience, which is what they don't need. They don't need an audience, okay? So I'm glad that they got that memo. I know the only reason why they probably didn't have an audience is because of the whole COVID-19 thing, but the only way they can get through a damn reunion is if they have no cast members. No audience members. The only people that need to be in the building besides the producers is media, like myself. You know, people like me. Okay, so that's what I think. And that's probably why we got to have a good reunion. We have Imani Van Zip, and she's hosting the reunion, and I think she does a great job at hosting the reunions for Chasing Reality. She did a great job with the Chasing Dallas Season 2 reunion, because the person that did the reunion that first season was whack as fuck, okay? And that ain't no disrespect, it's just the goddamn truth. He was whack as hell, and I wasn't feeling it at all, okay? I'm just being real. However, everybody looked nice, okay? Everybody pretty much looked great, especially Q. Now, Oliver called me out last week for having a crush on Q, which I do have a crush on Q, and I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna get through my interview with him on February the 3rd. Me and Jamar interviews Quentin Q Harris on February the 3rd, so I gotta meditate, pray, and do everything I possibly can to get through that interview without smiling too hard or hurting my damn face for smiling too hard, or just not showing my face the whole interview. So y'all gotta pray for me on this. So shout out to Q, because I know he's probably watching, because he normally watches my shit. So shout out to Q. Okay, so we're gonna start out with the situation with the song and the contract with the Power of Three, Wayne the Pain, and Lil Kendra. Okay, so looks to me like with this whole little situation at hand, it was a lot of miscommunication, a lot of mix-ups. Okay, now Oliver said that he has a phone that has AirDrop, and he got that phone in high school, and he doesn't delete a thing because he might forget, or he just want to keep a receipt. And according to him, he never got an AirDropped contract sent to him. Not one time. He never got one airdrop to him. Lawrence, on the other hand, said that she totally forgot that, Wayne did send the email. She forgot, and that's why she didn't sign it. Oliver felt like at the end of the day, I wanted us to do the song together. I wanted the song to be on the album, so why would I not want to sign a contract? It's just the fact that, Blueberry Pie on Wayne the Pain just didn't do his business the right way, and sometimes we do make mishaps on some things. I know with me being a growing media personality, there are some things that I may have dropped the ball on. There may be some things that I probably should have done better, which is why every time me and Jamar do something, or if I do something myself, I always try to do it 10 times better than the last time I did it, or me and Jamar try to do it 10 times better than the last time we did it. So there's accountability to be taken from Wayne the Pain, because he is the manager. He's the one that's involved with all the paperwork, the contracts, and everything else. So you should have just been on top of it. Point blank, period. Everybody's entitled to make a mistake. We're all human. Everybody's entitled. And that's not me just going in on your ass. It's just real talk. Everybody makes a mistake in business. But all you got to do is, when you do make that mistake with the business, you got to make sure that, okay, this shit ain't gonna never happen again. So we gonna get into it the right way, not the wrong way, or no way at all. Okay, so that's all it looks to me. I agree with my baby daddy Q when he said that it was all a miscommunication, misunderstanding. It could have been handled a different way, and that's just what it is. And none of them even knew that the album was even out. To this day, I did not know that Lil Kendra's album was out until the show came back on back in October. And I will say that at the end of the day, I like Kendra. Ever since the interview that me and Jamar did with her, I always been indifferent to Kendra. Like, there's one hand where I liked her, but there's one hand with that I didn't like the things that she did. But after that interview that we did with Kendra, it made me look at her in a different light. And Wayne the Pain, to be quite honest. So that's not my opinion being jaded, because everybody knows if I'm doing my reviews, they already know I'm going to keep it all the way funky with them. And sometimes they just might have to call call me and let me know, okay, so this is what it is. Because let's just be real. If you do watch the OWN show, Bill Collective, I have a person on that show that I actually know personally, and she told me, listen, I might have to DM Scotty ass for what he said, but I appreciate him being real on what he said in his video. And that's just what it is, regardless if I love your ass down or not, because I love a lot of people on this cast down, especially after doing interviews with them, but I'm gonna keep it real, and that's just what it is. So now we revisit Lauren and Dominique's issue. An issue that I felt that did not need to be pressed too much. I feel like we really harped on that situation way too long. It was basically an issue where it could have been solved before the show even started. I mean, Dominique feels like being that we wasn't in the same circles at that time, it was no need for me to address it. But since we're now in the same circles and we have to film with each other now, it's better for me to just bring it to the show. I don't know. And this is coming from somebody that likes Dominique a lot. This is coming from somebody that actually has talked to him on FaceTime with Jamar and talked to him on the phone, and I don't have the same relationship as Dominique and Jamar has, but I do know of him because of Jamar and their connection. But I don't know, like, when you're looking at it from the outside looking in, if you're looking at it from a viewer standpoint, when you hear Lauren say, we've seen each other several times before we started filming with the show, before we even knew that you would be on the show, why didn't you say something to me about it then? So as a person that's watching the show, or a cast member, so to speak, they would feel like, okay, you should have talked about this a long time ago, and the only reason why we're even discussing this now is because you want a storyline, you want a narrative. That's the way it comes across to the people. So we really can't get mad at the people because that's the way you brought it out. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, that's how it came across. It came across like you really wanted some shine. It came across like you really wanted a storyline, and that's just what it is. Oliver should not be blamed for anything. I feel like Oliver did the right thing possible by bringing it up to Lauren. I know Oliver said that maybe he should have just told Dominique not to talk to him about that, which he probably should have, because that's what I would have personally done. If I don't feel comfortable with a person coming to me that I really don't know that well, coming to me talking about my friend and talking about something that happened between them and my friend, then I don't want to hear that. I would suggest that you talk to my friend about it, because my friend ain't here and I don't want to be a part of that conversation. So I do understand Oliver when it comes down to that. But at the same time, no matter how you would have handled it, I don't think that you did anything wrong. Now, if you would have just said right then that you didn't want to hear about it, that would have been even better. But you telling Lauren what happened is not wrong. In my eyes, it's honestly not wrong. You did what you were supposed to do as a friend, is tell Lauren. And you didn't take nothing from it. You didn't add nothing to it. And you didn't throw it away. You told it exactly how it was. And that's that on that. I don't see how that was being messy. But it is what it is, child. So Oliver gets called out for the punk's remark. And then we go into the whole argument about the green screen situation. Now, Dominique feels like all these folks go into their green screens. They talk a lot of shit. And then they want to call each other and tell each other what was said because they've already been talking shit in their green screens. And my honest opinion, I agree with Lauren. Y'all all talk shit in y'all green screens. When y'all do y'all green screens or whatever, y'all are there to talk about the situation at hand and what happened in that moment. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, I've been watching reality TV long enough to know that that's what it is. And I think that that's why Q, Oliver, and Lauren get along so well, because they all know that this is just reality TV. We already know what we're doing. We already know what comes with it. That's what it is. I think Dominique feels like y'all do the same shit, but then when I do it, it's an issue. Just like with Rico. Rico called Oliver out basically saying, you know, I know you're saying that this is what it is, but when I said what I said in my green screen, you took to Instagram Live and you drugged me for it, and you was all butthurt about what I said. Now, we already know that Oliver is a favorite of mine, and on top of that, that's my Aquarian bro, okay? We both share the same sign. Aquarius season, by the way. Shout out to all the Aquas in the building. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Me and Oliver are both Aquarius, so shout out to Aquarius Nation. But at the end of the day, he has a point, Oliver. Like, you can't sit up here and tell Dominique what he can and can't be offended by in the green screens and try to explain to him what a green screen is and what the whole situation is for a green screen. But if that applies to Dominique, it should apply to you too. Because you can't sit up. If you feel like Dominique should not be offended by what you said in the green screen, then honestly, you should not be offended by what Rico said, because that's how he felt at that particular moment. So why you so butthurt about it? I totally understand that. Honestly, I do understand that. You got to call a spade a spade. Just like Lauren said, all of us throw shade in our green screens. It is what it is. If Oliver felt like y'all were being punks at the moment, then y'all were being punks at the moment. If Rico felt like you had some cold ass food, the food was cold. What you mad for? The food was cold. It is what it is. So what the fuck you mad for? So you can't get mad at one person for doing the same thing that you do. It is what it is. Okay, so after we talk about all that, we get into a session where everybody's emotional. Now, I'm Oliver in that situation. Like, I am emotionally vacant. I don't cry like that. When people cry in front of me, there's nothing I can do. I just sit there. I hand you a tissue, and I sit back and I let you get it out. I don't like to hug people. I don't like to rub on their backs. I don't like to say the same old cliche situation. Oh, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. Like, it's gonna be, because it's not. You know, it's not. So I don't know, or it comes from the things that I went through as a child. You know what I mean? Like, I cried a lot, and I don't have many more tears to cry at this point. Nothing really phases me at this point. So it is what it is. That's how I take things. So I totally understood where Oliver was coming from as far as him having this blank face, this blank stare, not really having much to say in the midst of everybody crying. I totally get it. That's an Aquarius thing. We don't mean no harm, but we just not there emotionally. We just not. We get into Rico and his struggles with his mother and how that really hurt him. And, you know, we talked about that just a little bit in our interview with Rico with a K. I felt his pain. Like, I felt his pain. I know my mother had uterine cancer when I was like 15 years old. And that was a scary time. Thank God she's cancer free, but that was a scary time. Or even now, my mother has to have surgery Friday. She got a disc in her back and it's too big and she got to get it out. So let me just throw that out there. Keep my mother in your prayers with that. But I totally understand, like, a parent, that's something. Okay, so we get into the Cameron thing. Cameron starts crying about his cancer situation. And as much as I'm not the biggest fan of Cameron. I'm just going to say that, because it's not like I love Cameron. It's not like I dislike Cameron. I'm just indifferent, because he doesn't really do anything for me, because he's never really just there. And to be an OG, he just falls to the wayside for me. Like, that's the thing with him. He just falls back to me too much. And you will forget that he is an OG right alongside Lauren. As a matter of fact, him and Lauren are the longest running people on this show, and you will tend to forget that Cameron definitely is a fucking OG of this cast, and it's hard to remember that because he's always in the background. I just need for him to do more and give me more. That's all I'm saying. Honestly, that's all I'm really saying. But that's all I'm gonna say on that. But as far as his cancer is concerned, it is sucky when you're in the gay community and you lose weight, or somebody find out that you sick. The first thing they say, you got AIDS. The first thing they say is that you're HIV positive. That's the first thing the gays say. The gays can be very ignorant to a lot of shit, and they wonder why they don't progress, and they wonder why they can't get the things that they want to get. We all want to be unified, and we all want to do this, and we all want to do that as a group, but we can't even uplift each other as a group. It's always about shading each other. It's all about reading a motherfucker down. Nobody never wants to hold each other's hand and make sure that we're all good. Instead, we want to tear each other down. We see it all the time. Instead of coming to each other, like, everybody want to be that bitch instead of being men about situations and just trying to work things out like grown ass men. A lot of the gays are very ignorant and immature. I might get stoned for saying it, but it is what it is. Like, anytime a motherfucker gets sick, the first thing they want to do is diagnose you with something. Bitch, see what the fuck going on with these folks, and then you sit down and you talk to them, and then you look stupid when you find out it's something else. It's fucked up. I could go on and on that time. Then Lauren starts crying because she comes from a spiritual family. They're all holy-fied. They're judgmental, so they don't understand her journey. When you're coming from a family like that, you don't know what you're going to get. You're coming out as gay, and then you're coming out as transitioning. I know that for me, when I was coming out, I came out twice to my mom. I think my mom did not believe me the first time, but the second time, it really sunk into her. I didn't understand why she was so resistant at first. But one thing about it is my mother's reaction wasn't the best when I first came out. But I will say that she never disowned me and she never treated me differently. It's just that when it came out, her reaction wasn't the way I would have wanted it to be. But she eventually came around and she supported me. More so than I can say for certain people in my family. But I'm going to leave it at that. From what my mother told me, she had a situation in childhood where she had a gay uncle and they sent him to a mental institute. So that's probably why she was closed-minded growing up about homosexuality. She learns a lot from me the older I get, because there's a lot that she didn't know about homosexuality, but she's learned a lot being around me, being around my friends and all of that other stuff. My mother is very gay friendly, okay? Like, she loves her gays, honestly. Really, really do. And then when Lauren and Troy started talking about the painful relationships that they was in, I was like, oh, girl, I feel what you're saying, child, because that last relationship I was in, child. So I totally understand that. And then I loved it when Kendra gave Lauren that sound advice about coming out as trans and how she has 20 plus years of experience with it and how she just got to be who she is and just take it with a grain of, just take everything with a grain of salt. People gonna clock it, some people not. People gonna judge you, some people not. Some people gonna accept it and some is not. That's just the type of life that we live. And it's a shame that we got to live it that way, but that's just what it is. So I definitely appreciate Kendra giving Lauren that sound advice. That was really touching to see. And another thing that really got me was when they started talking about Todd Couture and how he committed suicide and how suicide is so rampant. And it just took me back to where I was in November. I think it was November, whenever it was election day. Let me go back. It was election day in November. I knew November in 2019. Let's see, it was November the 5th, 2019. And I was headed down the wrong path. I almost committed suicide because I was homeless. I lost my place of residence. I was going through a tumultuous relationship. I was giving more than I was receiving. I was just in a bad place mentally. I didn't think no one cared. To the point to where I just didn't care about YouTube anymore. And just having a person like a Jamar 84 or like a Giving You the Real Tea to give me that strength to live, or not even just my YouTube friends, but my guy friends like the Sammys and the Tays and the Carloses and the Varis and you know, the Derricks and the Henrys and just Chris and just so many guys that I loved dearly that had my back throughout that whole situation and let me know that I'm loved and that whenever I need to talk to anybody, they're always available. Like, that really touched me and they gave me more strength to live and go after what I wanted. And just to see Q crying, that made me want to hug. Now, that's one person I hug, but that's another story. But suicide is always a touchy topic because I could have been a victim of that. I could have been gone because of suicide. So I totally understand. Then we get into we get into Dominique and Travis. Y'all, Dominique and Travis, y'all, I don't really care about this. Like, it was blown out of proportion. It wasn't that serious. I just feel like at the end of the day, like, I get Travis's frustration. Dominique has been talking cash money shit. He has. Even in our interview, he said what he said. But Travis really ain't been saying too much. But I just feel like this. If a person feel like you've been talking so much shit about them and they've been letting you make it, it's only so long they're gonna go without going in on your ass. And that's just what it is. I feel like Dominique was going in on Travis and Travis was giving it just as much as Dominique was giving it to him and taking it. So it is what it is. It's a to be continued. So we're gonna see how it turns out next week, okay? So with that being said, y'all, this is my review on Chasing Atlanta. Be sure to like, rate, comment, and subscribe and share this video. Do whatever you see fit. If you haven't followed me yet, follow me on Instagram at Scotty_by_nature, and my Twitter is ScottyByNature1. With that being said, you guys, the king is out of here. The king of the motor mouth king is out of here. Oh, I don't want to say motor mouth because that's Kaya shit. Let me just say the engine mouth king is out of here. Scotty by Nature is the fuck out of here. And I'll talk to you later. Peace out.